Good morning, my quarantinerinos. I wanted to do that with more enthusiasm, but I actually can't. I'm gonna see what I can do with this Anise liqueur. Now, I happen to really like Anise because I drink a lot of absinthe and I've conditioned myself to like that black licorice taste that all children hate. And interestingly enough, when I looked it up, one of the first things I saw was that it pairs well with citrus, and it's in a lot of salad dressings and things. And I also saw that it supposedly pairs well with coffee, and that reminds me that Greg from How to Drink likes to put a dash of absinthe in his coffee. And so I think that's a good idea too, and I'm just going to kind of see what we can do here. So I've got pineapple juice, and we'll try mixing it with some pineapple juice. And I've also got this, which is, which I have to explain. So this is called the Son of the Devil. Earlier on the channel, there's a video called the Espresso Moonshine video, and that became known as the Devil because it tastes like gasoline and dying in an underground Mexican hospital. And then we made a much better version. This is version 3 of the whole process. And unfortunately, I mixed in like an ounce of the original Devil and kind of threw off, because the Devil infects everything and overpowers all good intention and goodwill. So this isn't as delicious as it used to be, but still really delicious. And by the way, wait for the Son of the Devil version 4 video, and I'll tell you what's in it and how to make it good. But just first test the hypothesis that anise and citrus go together. So I'm just straight up going to pour out a little pineapple juice. And try it with increasing amounts of anise. Bosco Anise, yeah, it's just Anise Liqueur. Like, I don't even know if it has a proper name. But its ingredients are alcohol and flavors. Works for me. What I read was the anise and a citrus fruit drink will kind of end up having a vanilla-like flavor just because of what the anise pulls out of or highlights in the citrus, and I think that's true. So that's pretty good. Now, of course, when you're working with pineapple juice, your first thought is, you better throw some rum in there. Oh, and I have one special surprise. So let's throw in a dash of white rum. Well, you know, that almost seems like a cop-out. It's too easy to just throw white rum into anything. You're not experimenting with flavors, you're just boosting the alcohol. But I guess let's try this just to see, because I would hate to call it a cocktail when it only has juice and liqueur that's in it, but actually this liqueur is as strong as a spirit. It's actually stronger than white rum. So this is a good drink unto itself then, for those of us who drink to enjoy and to get drunk. It's not one or the other, ladies. Both. So if you can neutrally up the proof of it with rum. Yeah, that kind of changes nothing. It just makes it a little bit thinner. And actually a little bit less enjoyable, because you just dilute the fruit juice so much that you're not getting that fun fruit pop anymore. Apparently I work at a cereal company and say things like fun fruit pop. But let's take a gamble on a darker rum, or a middle rum. And let's start over. Let's get back to basics. I'm not going to drink this like a shot. There's now 2 ounces of strong booze in there. Do overtime. So let's take a tiny risk, but not too big of a risk, and use... We don't have a ton of room under the bar anymore. Used to have more. Oh, I didn't grab a shot glass either. Okay, I think it'll be a safe play to do 2 ounces of pineapple juice, because we want it to be a fun fruit base. We want to trick people into having anise in their cocktail. And then tell them, haha. Oh, I should also put ice in the shaker. Let's start off with a 1/2 ounce of the anise. Again, like I said, I'm going to trick people into drinking it. And then, because we know that'll be good already, let's throw in some really good rum so that we're not taking too much of a risk. And we'll throw in 1/2 ounce of Plantation 5-year. And then in the future, we can try it with cheaper, funkier rums to see if we can get away with it. But this will be proof of concept. There's a bottle of Sailor Jerry's under here that we've never opened. We bought it because it was tiki. So let's give this a shake. Steve the bartender to make eye contact while you shake. The rum makes it a lot less appealing of a color, unfortunately. And these 3.5 ounce glasses are, no, only 3.5 ounces. But I'm pretty far from the camera here, but and if you've watched these in a row now, you know I'm still trying to figure out how to get like good colors to kind of pop on camera. Because as fun as it is to talk about drinking, I should also be using this time to learn to make better videos. But look at the first drink. It's pretty clear. It's a nice color. It was even better before I diluted it with white rum. And then this is a little murkier. It's kind of a dull, swampy color that's not instantly appealing. Probably still look good in a cocktail glass with, you know, a big orange wheel as a garnish. Now as for flavor notes, it is an improvement. It is the better of the two. So white rum just diluted the first drink and it added nothing. Whereas Plantation added some flavors to kind of mix in there and got pretty interesting. So I'm going to go rinse the shaker. And we'll move on to the next step. Now I might want to start building a different cocktail. No, I'm just gonna try. I don't know what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna edit this part out. So fuck you. Okay, now what we'll do is test the next hypothesis, and I know a good way that we can do so. And I know that we have to keep the cats away from the bath. First of all, I have here a fresh cup of coffee. And it's in my Robot vs. Sloth mug from Seattle. And now, because here's another thing I know works, putting Son of the Devil, which is coffee moonshine, with, spoiler alert, tonka beans. It's actually a coffee syrup with tonka beans in moonshine. I know that putting a splash of that in a cup of coffee turns out great. I know that the cat is desperate to knock over a plant that's just off camera. Look at you. Desperate. Go ahead. Yep, still good, even if it is weakened by the presence of the original devil. Which you'll just have to trust me. Go back and watch the espresso moonshine video. You'll see why we call it the devil and how that name caught on. And we do have on the bar the final amount of the devil in an eyedropper, so that you can put like a milliliter in a gallon of something and make it palatable and safe. But now let's see what happens if we throw anise in coffee, in a cup of coffee with a splash of the devil. What does a splash of anise do? Flavor-wise, it doesn't seem to hurt. It does change it and it's interesting, but also texturally, because this is much like, well, it's thinner than maraschino, but does that same thing where it creates what would be described as a silkiness or an oiliness. Like, it's the same thing. If you like it, you would say that it creates a silkiness. If you don't like it, you would end up saying that it creates an oiliness. And so I think just controlling the amount is really important when dealing with that. But ultimately, I do get the impression that anise and coffee go together just fine. So, eventually I'm going to have to try and combine pineapple and coffee, and I just think that's going to be fucking weird. I don't know if I want to do that now or not, but how I would do it if I were going to go about so is we have some rum that's infusing with coffee beans right here. Because honestly, we try and infuse everything with coffee around here. I don't know. It's not an improvement. Like, we used a mediocre rum and a handful of coffee beans, and now it smells like something. It doesn't actually smell like mediocre rum anymore. I don't know. Maybe it's already growing on me. Maybe I can edit this video down from the hour it's gonna fucking be. Let's put in an ounce of coffeed rum. And I'm not going to worry about the fact that there are beans in there because they'll get strained out in the cocktail. Let's throw our ice in. And an ounce of pineapple juice. Let's do 2 ounces of pineapple juice. Like I said, you want fruit flavors to kind of pop. Let's give this a whiff. It smells terrible. Which means there's the potential that anise can save this, or we'll just have more volume of a liquid that I don't want to drink. That was about 3/4 of an ounce BT dubs. So this is coffeed rum. That's not how you shake a fucking shaker. This is coffeed rum, anise, and pineapple juice. Which, yes, sounds horrible. I was ready to say and looks horrible, but it doesn't actually look... It's a dark, suspicious color, but it's dark enough to be interesting. This first drink was lovingly bright in color, and I liked it. The second drink just doesn't have that brightness. It looks a little bit murky. The third drink here has a darkness that makes it just seem mysterious. It doesn't look unpalatable or gross. Maybe I'm just getting used to it. Maybe it actually does look unpalatable and gross. But, man, I mean, I was trying to detect anything I didn't like in that, and I really didn't. What if... This is the thing with me and cocktails. I think, one, I know from my friends that I have a bad habit of liking terrible drinks. Not just like drinks that are like kind of bad or dumb, like a hurricane made with pre-made syrup or something like that, but I like horrible things, hence making espresso moonshine or the gin shine that we made. Like I like drinks that fucking hurt and are gross and intense, and I guess it is just, you know, it's bravado. But what I also find interesting is drinks that sound gross, sound like they shouldn't work, like coffeed rum, pineapple juice, and anise. I'm more interested in this drink than the previous two, just because I would make you curious if I offered it to you. Like if I said, hey, do you want some anise and pineapple juice? You might say no, because you don't like anise, and then I would win you over. But if I said, do you want some coffeed rum, anise, and pineapple juice? You'd be like, fuck no, that sounds weird and stupid, but let me try it and see what happens. Maybe my palate is also spoiled because I've created a progression here, but I really like that. I haven't disliked any of them. I don't think we're done here, but this one feels like it's more than the sum of its parts already, which is another thing that I think is really important in cocktails, and I've been saying since we started doing this 2 days ago, that another reason that I didn't used to like cocktails is that it was just a bunch of stuff in a glass. Like if you're gonna pour a glass of bourbon and what you want is the bourbon, then be an essentialist and don't throw in like an orange peel and some bitters and then light the orange peel on fire and be a fancy pants about it. Just drink the bourbon. Like it's essentialist, and there's a purity to it that I find emotionally invigorating. But I've since had, especially since we got into tiki, these moments where like a cocktail sucks without, I'll tell the story, the Suffering Bastard. We made Suffering Bastards and we didn't have Angostura bitters yet. And they were just okay, it just tasted like a bunch of stuff in a glass, and I thought it was a misuse of time. And then literally 2 dashes of Angostura bitters turned it into something else. and it just became amazing. And I'll drink Suffering Bastards for the rest of my life. And ever since then, I've been looking for that feeling, where like one thing puts something over the top and it becomes something else. And now I'm just rambling because it's early in the morning and I'm already catching a buzz here. But it's just like pancakes. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Oh, I forgot there's booze in my coffee too. Pancakes are a defeat of my essentialism, because you can't make a pancake, you can't make the purest pancake by just eating a handful of flour. Like, it is the ingredients and the process that creates something amazing. And I love pancakes, by the way. So essentialism is not a cure-all for every situation. Essentialism is vital. People should be more essentialist, especially in times like these. But it's not the answer to everything. And good baking and good cocktails should always feel that they are more than the sum of their parts. I should wrap this up because I totally forgot what I was doing and what I wanted to do. And I've got 3 good options here for cocktails. So I will just continue to workshop these. And now I'm drunk. So I'm gonna switch to beer and calm down. First video of the day, part 2. Alright, try this. It is pineapple juice, anise, and white rum.
Smells anisey.
Queen of Dragons.
Pineapple and anise do a weird thing.
I know, it actually is quite cool.
It's not a bad thing. It's good. It's weird.
Mm-hmm.
It makes it weirdly creamy.
It was better before the white rum. I actually kind of regret it. And when I looked at the alcohol by volume of the anise, I was like, you actually don't need to. Because I didn't want to make it, I should have some low ABV cocktails in the repertoire, but this isn't. This is as strong as a hard liquor.
It is multiple hard liquors.
Well, if it was just the anise and the pineapple juice at a 2-to-1 ratio, it was delicious, and all the white rum did was kind of thin it out flavor-wise. This one is the same, except it has Plantation 5-year. So it's 2 ounces of pineapple juice. I think it's, I have it on video, but I forget.
It's got stuff.
3/4 ounce of anise and then 1 ounce of Plantation 5-year.
I like it, and it is good.
It's
But
better
I don't think it's necessary.
Well, necessary, maybe not. Actually, certainly not. What's necessary is the pineapple juice and the anise.
Yeah.
And as I was rambling, a drink should feel like more than the sum of its parts. If it just has 2 parts and it turns out okay, then it is more than the sum of its parts. Adding 1 ounce of rum to the mixture, but then kind of adding nothing to the drink in that spiritual sense, is a waste, is a detriment.
Plantation just makes everything better.
Well, yeah. The thing is, it doesn't make it worse. This
Has bits in it.
yes, little bits of coffee, because it's the coffeed rum, the coffeed anejo. And anise and pineapple juice.
So it's this one plus the coffee?
Yes.
Okay.
It is the exploration of coffee rum.
My shoulders are so tired. I was expecting to smell more than coffee. All you smell is coffee. Yeah, the anise doesn't even come through. It's impressive. It's got a lot going on.
It does sort of get to that more than the sum of its parts feeling.
How much coffee did you
I didn't add any actual coffee.
add? No, I mean, how much of the coffee rum did you add?
Ounce.
The coffee's kind of the roof of everything that stays with you through the surprisingly long evolution. But I don't know if I would even go with a half ounce.
I don't
But
know.
no, I think actually, never mind. That's good.
Yeah, it turned out fine.
You still get everything. There's just coffee throughout.
Yeah. I think this would be a great drink to offer to all of our friends who hate coffee and Anise
So Ben,
and Jay.
Jay hates coffee.
I think you could you could offer this to them, they would have it and they would go, it's interesting, what's kind of going on there? You'd be like, it's coffee, rum, and black licorice. And they'd be like, wow, I don't, now that you mention it, I get those things, but, and I think you have an interesting cocktail, or at least a conversation cocktail, by doing that. They might also just be like, no, actually, I hate this, why, what's in it? And you'd be like, oh, well, now I don't want to tell you.
I think they'll dislike it because of the anise. It's combined, but it's definitely still there.
Yeah, but like we said, it does work though. Like you don't taste pineapple juice and black licorice. You taste this thing that's a combination of the both of them. And it does work. I was shocked that it worked. I would have never thought of it.
It came together.
Yeah. What's interesting about making cocktails is that you don't want to just put like with like. Like, as much as I love Rusty Nails, they're actually a stupid drink and no one should get credit for inventing it. Like, you put scotch and a scotch liqueur together and put a cherry in it. Yeah. But when I was working on this, like, my first thought was like, man, I need something bitter, something strong, something dark flavor-wise. I was like, no, you should go opposite. Pineapple juice. You would never think that pineapple juice and absinthe would go together. That's essentially what we've done here.
So step 2. Name.
I'm not sure it's done per se. We'll put it in the workshop notebook. And be like, okay, this is the drink that we're workshopping. That's what I have here.
Oh, I just learned we have a workshop notebook.
So yeah, we have addressing the camera. We have our final notebook where everything written in here is like the official recipe of a thing we've tried and the precise recipe of how we like it. So right now it just contains the Suffering Bastard, a Dark and Stormy, My Manhattan, and a Mai Tai.
Painkiller.
Well, it doesn't contain the painkiller. We could put the painkiller in there since we're not going to do a different recipe, but it is also just not our recipe. Because did we take Greg's painkiller or did we take one out of the book?
Greg's.
But yeah, I don't think we've modified it in any way, did we?
No.
So yeah, and then I just have my notebook and my Twitter feed, which contains all of the drinks in progress and then things like this, just as the workshop comes together.
So is it at Alistair Robertson or is it at, what's our band called, or is it at Friday Fitness?
Don't be a shill, that was weird. It's at Alistair Rob, I believe, is my main Twitter handle. We should wrap this video up. This is like half a fucking hour now.
No, you were half an hour before because you started when I started.
Yeah. That made sense. That was a sentence.
You know what I meant.
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
They don't know you were doing yoga in the other room when I shot the first half of this video. Alright, let's end this one, get into the next one, because we're going to make Nui-Nuis and maybe a pearl diver today.
Pearl diver.
So what do we say? Because our lives are meaningless now.
Okay, we decided on that one, eh?
No, we didn't.
Okay.